The biggest difference between reps that are closing 40, 50, maybe 60K a month and the guys that are consistently closing over 100K, I'm talking 150, 200, 250, even $300,000 a month by themselves, is their ability to objection handle. Now, one of the most common objections that we get is the partner objection. And so in this video, I am going to go over exactly how to overcome the partner objection and then what you need to do to be able to overcome the partner objection internally as well. So if you're new to this channel is not for newbies. It's not for people that are looking to get into real estate and, oh, I think wholesaling might be a good opportunity. I'll get my financial freedom. Not for you. This is for people that are currently doing deals. I don't care if you're an acquisitions rep, if you own a company, if you're a sales manager, but you're currently doing deals. If you already know the process works, I'm not going to give you any mindset bullshit about how wholesaling is a good opportunity. You need to already know that. And so now that you know that, you've experienced the partner objection. And what does that sound like? All sounds great. I got to talk to my wife. I got to talk to my attorney. I got to talk to my Uncle Bob. I got to talk to my realtor. It comes in all forms, right? There's a million ways that they can give you the partner objection. The first thing that you need to understand is if you can't overcome the partner objection yourself, then you're never going to be able to overcome it for sellers. And so what do I mean by that? I have personally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on sales training specifically. And I have never once gone and consulted, my partner, my girlfriend, the mother of my kid to be able to find out, if I can actually make this investment. And when I was married, my first time, I never was like, maybe that's why I'm not married anymore. I never was like, hey, honey, can I go spend this money so I can make more money back? No, why would I put that decision on somebody else? And so when you understand this for yourself, I'm going to relay why this is important for sellers. I understand that I am in control of my own destiny, and no one else is going to be responsible for me taking control of my own destiny. So if I know that if I invest $20,000 into a coaching program to get better at sales, I can make $40,000 more per month, then why would I go put that responsibility on my girlfriend, on my mom, my dad, my freaking uncle, like whoever it is, right? It's because I know it will work for me and I make the decision for myself. And that's the one principle you need to understand when we go over the partner objection. So I was on a call the other day and the seller was saying that, he's been in this house for 30 years. All of his neighbors are kind of nosy. They're always bothering him. And he really wasn't happy where he was at anymore. Like he had a couple literally like fist fights in his driveway from some of the neighbors. And he wanted to change his life. He wanted to get a new change of scenery. And so I asked him, let's say we can get you the money to help you do that. What would be your biggest concern at that point? And he said, well, I have to talk to my son because, my son lives with me and I need to make sure that he's okay with it too. And so just like I hold accountability to my own life, I did it for him as well. And I said, look, ultimately, who is going to benefit if you're able to move out to your new lake house and not have to deal with your neighbors anymore? He's like, well, it's me. And I said, okay, well, let's say you go to your son. He doesn't see eye to eye on this. He's like, Dad, I just want you to stay here. I don't want you to sell the house. You're not getting enough money for it. Would you just continue staying in this neighborhood, the same house, and continue to be bothered by all of your neighbors? And the guy thought about it for a second. He's like, well, I wouldn't have a choice. I would have to do what he says because he lives here as well. So I asked him, are you really willing to settle for that? He's like, no, I don't want to settle for that. And so then I had to reframe his mindset the same way that you have to reframe your mindset if you're stuck on a partner objection. I had to reframe his mindset and say, look, ultimately, who's responsible for you getting the quality of life that you want? And he said, well, I am. I'm the one that's responsible for me getting the quality of life. So is it fair to put that decision on somebody else and put your quality of life, your entire life, really, like the way that you live your day to day, is it fair to let somebody else control that? And he's like, no, it's not. And so I said, okay, so what do you feel like you need to do so that way you can make the decision and you can get to that next property and start enjoying your life from now on? It's like, well, I have to make the decision. I was like, you don't have to. You can push it off. You can wait to see what your son says and hope and pray he says yes, but ultimately put it in his hands. Why not do that? It's like, well, no, it's time for me to start making decisions for me. Right. And at that moment, he took ownership of his own life. And once he took ownership of his own life, then he was able to make the decision to change it for the better. And it's that simple. That's how you overcome a partner objection. Is one, you understand the problems that they're dealing with. Okay, so they live in a house. It's in terrible condition. Neighborhood's not safe anymore. All these problems are going on with it, right? Where they want to be is their new renovated house. It's in their dream location, super safe neighborhood, gated community, right? So you have the two things. You have the problems they're dealing with and the future state that they want. You know these things, and you know you can help them get there. And then when they go and say, well, I need to talk to my realtor, I need to talk to, my husband, my wife, my attorney, like all these other people, you just ask them, hey, can I ask, like, what are you hoping to accomplish by speaking to those other people? And then they'll tell you, well, I'm hoping that they're going to give me, XYZ, or they're going to tell me to go this direction. They're going to guide me in the right direction, whatever it is, right? And then you ask them a consequence question. So what happens if you go to them and they don't see eye to eye on this? Like they say, you know what? No, it's not enough money. It's not a good decision for you. You should just stay here. Are you going to continue settling for, and I'm going to repeat back their problems. Are you going to continue settling for the house that's in bad condition and the bad neighborhood and dealing with all of these problems that you've been dealing with? You're going to be like, well, no, I don't want to settle for that, right? And then you hit them with the reframe. Well, ultimately, who's responsible for getting you to that next house? And you have to let them think about that, because they're the ones that are responsible for it. They are responsible for their own outcome in life, just like you're responsible for your own outcome in life. This is why I say, if you can't overcome the partner objection for yourself, if you have to run everything, through your daddy or mommy or your wife or your husband or, your realtor, your freaking attorney, like, of course, it's going to make sense when someone gives you that sort of objection. So you need to be able to overcome that for yourself to help other people do the same. And so when you ask them that and you get them to think, are they going to let someone else make the decision about what they really want? They will say, no, I am not. I'm going to draw the line in the sand. I am going to make the decision for me. And then your final closing question is this. So what do you feel like you need to do to make the decision? Again, I'm going to harp, you need to do to make the decision, because they need to take ownership of their decision. What do you feel like you need to do to make the decision, so that way you no longer have to deal with A, B, and C problem, and you can get to X, Y, and Z result? And then that will draw the line in the sand, and they will say, I need to do this. I need to sign the agreement. I need to accept an offer. I need to do this now, right? And if you get any sort of hesitancy there, this is the art of pulling back. Like, I guess I need to move forward. I won't even say, well, you don't have to. A lot of people will just put that weight on someone else, and they'll continue living the same way. Why is it important for you to do this? And then once I get them to explain even deeper why it's important for them to make the decision and for them to change their life, they are now selling themselves to me. All I'm doing is just asking the right questions. And so that's what you need to understand to be able to overcome any sort of partner objection. Doesn't matter if this is before you present the offer, after you present the offer. If they are giving you a partner objection, this is how you overcome it. Now I'm going to go over one more scenario. What if the other person is actually on title? So now they're no longer an external partner. They're also a decision maker, and they want to go talk to their wife. Their wife is on the title. I'm not going to say like, hey, why don't you just sign her name while she's sleeping, right? Obviously, that's not going to work. So here's what I do. I go through a pretty simple process, and it looks like this. The first thing I say is, not a problem. You can 100% talk to your wife. I don't want you sleeping on the couch tonight, man. I don't want you sleeping on the couch. I don't need you in the doghouse, right? I'm going to lower their resistance, okay? Now I'm going to put their wife aside. I'm going to say, obviously, you have to speak to her, but let me ask you, do you feel like everything that we've covered so far would help you get to XYZ result? They're going to say, yeah, I feel like everything we covered so far would help me get to XYZ result. Okay, what did we cover that makes you feel like we would? Well, you said you can close in 3 weeks. You said you can do this. You said you can do that, right? They're going to start selling themselves to me. The next thing I'm going to ask them, and are you 100% sure that you do want to get XYZ result? Okay, so I want to eliminate all of the other objections. So are you 100% sure that you do want to get XYZ result? You do want to move down to Florida with your kids? Then they say yes, okay? Now I ask them that same consequence question. So let's say that you go to your wife and she doesn't see eye to eye on this. Like, she says no. Would you just settle for staying in this dangerous neighborhood, or what would you do at that point? They're going to say one of two things. The first one is, well, I would be screwed. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it. Or the second thing, they're going to say, I would convince her. I'm going to be able to convince her to be able to do that. And so once I have those two, that will tell me which direction to go. They say, oh, I'm going to convince her. I'm going to say, how would you do that? They're going to start selling themselves to me again. Oh, well, I would tell her about all the benefits, about how you guys are going to do it in 3 weeks. You're going to take care of all my stuff. Like, I'll be able to get her on board. Right now, I'm going to pin that, because I'm going to go right back. If I do the first one, which is I would be screwed, I'm going to go back to the same result. So I'm going to pin that right there. If they say, well, I would be screwed, then I ask them a very simple question. Are you willing to settle for that if you didn't have to? Like, no, I don't want to settle for that if I didn't have to. Okay. Now I go to the same exact frame. Well, we took about an hour to get to the point where we're at now. We covered all of your questions about, like the time frame, how we're going to help you get here, and exactly what you're looking for. Now, typically what I see when I talk to sellers and they want to go talk to their wife is they try to relay all that information in about like 5 or 10 minutes. And what do you think typically happens? Well, they probably have questions. They're probably confused. They're going to answer the question. They probably, it doesn't work out very well for them. And so you go, right. So what we could do, if you feel like it would help, is we could set up a call with you and your wife. That way, when she does have questions, I will be there to answer them. And we don't have to, go through all of the back and forth. We can save you some time, and then we can take the next step to actually getting you to the XYZ result. Would that help? Okay. So the reason I'm doing it this way, if I do need to talk to the wife or the husband or the real, whatever, or somebody that's actually on title, like an actual decision maker, I am going to frame it as I am helping him. So the first thing I want to do is, did we cover everything that you're looking for? Yes. Okay, boom, that objection's out the way. The second thing, are you 100% sure that you want to do this so that way you can get to XYZ result? Yes. Okay, so they're 100% committed to doing it. The only thing that's getting in the way now is their partner, right? And so what happens if their partner says no? That is going to tell me where to go. They're either going to say, I'm screwed, I can't do it, or they are going to say, I'm going to convince them. Either way, I'm funneling into one answer, which is, would it be helpful if we got on the phone with your partner? That way, when they do have questions, we are there to answer them and help you get to XYZ result. So I'm not making this about me. I'm making it about them. And that one skill, like just with the partner objection, if you get that partner objection, 1 out of 4 of your offers, you could close another 1 contract every 4 offers. And if you're making 4 offers a week, that's another contract a week. That could be $100K a month right there. And that's the difference between these $100K a month closers, $300K a month closers, and these guys that are guys and girls stuck doing 15, 20, maybe 30K a month, is they don't know how to overcome simple objections that they hear every single day. So if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We go over new sales techniques every single week for real estate investors that are already doing deals and they want to crush it even more. Like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys on the next video.